Assalamualaikum. My name is Zhahirah. In this new series of Food and Faith, Muslim SG together with the Ustazah Youth Network and their invited guests will discuss the relation between food, faith and culture. We will bring you friends from other faiths to discuss respective religious festivals and observation, and us sharing about ours too, together with me spicing the beauty of different faiths. Here comes the final month of the year, where we spend most of our time with family and friends. For Christians, they look forward to a special celebration, and that is Christmas. While travelling around during Christmas, I find that different countries celebrate it in unique ways. Surprisingly, log cakes are not common in other cities unlike Singapore. So, is log cake a must-have delicacy during Christmas? Hi and Assalamualaikum and welcome to the 5th episode of Food and Faith, and together with me is Miss Grace and also Ustazah Zhahirah. So for today's episode, we're going to talk about one celebration that you look forward.
We all do.
At the end of the year, which is the December which is Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah. Okay, so before we have a conversation on Christmas and also log cakes, right? I mean, log cakes, I also want to know behind the story of having log cake during Christmas. Why not? I think we should try and have log cake first.
We shall. Makan first, talk later. Okay,
I'm not sure whether this is traditional because inside there's like berries and there's like this hazelnut taste. It's just that something that is different from other cakes. Maybe the texture of the cake is a bit more dense and like there's something like crunchy in it, right?
There's a wafer layer at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, there's a wafer layer.
Yeah. But I think different shops will do the log cakes differently as well.
First episode, right? I had moon cake. But there's a traditional ingredient that is a must to have in a mooncake, the traditional mooncake.
Lotus paste, is it?
Yes, lotus paste. Yeah. How about log cakes? Do you have a traditional ingredient or a must ingredient?
Honestly, I think as long as it looks like a log, like the shape, make it look like a tree, I think it will count as a log cake. So it can be anything, can be chocolate, hazelnut, whatever. I think the answer is no.
I always see during Christmas, right, there's always commercial or advertisement on log cakes. So is the log cake a must to have during Christmas, or is just something Singaporean Asian thing to have log cakes during Christmas?
So yeah, Assalamualaikum. My name is Grace, and I don't eat log cakes every year at Christmas. It can be any cake at all.
Okay.
So I think the log cake actually really is just a European thing that just made its way here, and now it's just, as you said, very commercialized, and it's a cake that we see once a year, but really you don't have to eat the log cake at Christmas.
Okay, so it's not a must that when it comes to family festival, a family feast, that you have to have a log cake, right?
No, we don't. We just buy it for fun if we do. It's not a must. So I mean, I would say that there are no log cakes in the Bible, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just nice to have, and I think people just they look forward to just have a like a limited edition cake that they can just eat in December, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
okay.
It's a nice cake, but you can eat any other cake really. Cheesecake also can.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually the same for us. Like for ketupat, Hari Raya is always associated with ketupat in Southeast Asia, right? In Malaysia and Singapore. But there's no religious symbol behind or religious meaning behind eating ketupat during Hari Raya. So is there any food that is significant religiously for Christmas?
I guess I would say that at Christmas, it's really not so much of a must-have food, but it's really just about that gathering of the people and really just have people dine around the table and have a meal together and have, just that feast together. And maybe, if you're talk about what foods are there in the Bible, there's not so much food, particular specific foods, but there is a great feast that happens at the end of the Bible, which is something that all Christians do look forward to, which is that great feast when all of God's people would enjoy food together. But there's no particular food, no turkey, no log cake put inside, but it's just really about eating and remembering, why we're gathered. So it can be any food really, but it's just a nice feast that everybody looks forward to.
Okay, yeah. But I also realized, Christian, when it comes to Christmas celebration and you have like a gathering and also praying in the church, right?
Yeah.
Then there's a ceremony whereby you have like wine and also the bread, breaking the bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can maybe you can share with us about the tradition on that?
Yeah. So that's actually Holy Communion, and the Holy Communion is written in the Bible when Jesus, right before he went to the cross, he had you probably saw the painting, the Last Supper, Jesus and the disciples, right? So that's the Last Supper, and right before he went on the cross, so that food is there where you're right. They break the bread and they also drink from the cup, which is wine. So there's which symbolizes the bread is his body, which he's going to break his body on the cross, and the wine represents his blood. Yeah, but so we do have that in church. We eat it regularly to remember Jesus Christ's sacrifice. But in my church, we don't do wine. We do Ribena. So it's a symbol. It's really a symbol, and it's to remember really what it means and who it's about. That one's in the Bible, Holy Communion.
So is there any specific bread? No specific bread.
It has to be unleavened bread, which means no yeast inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is part of the Bible as well. It was since the Old Testament, so it was like unleavened bread. So that is featured inside.
Okay, why is that? What is the significance of having unleavened bread, no yeast inside the bread during this?
Yeah, the unleavened bread actually comes all the way back from the Old Testament. So when the people were in Egypt, so they were actually held there as slaves for many years. And when God finally freed them, the night before they left, before God freed them from Egypt, God actually told all the families to eat unleavened bread, which basically is to show that you don't even have time to wait for the bread to rise, because tomorrow we're going to leave. And it's like we're leaving in a haste. So it's unleavened bread without yeast.
That is interesting. I only know that bread can rise with yeast.
With yeast, right? So it's really just flour and water, which isn't quite like bread actually. It tastes like wafer, biscuit. It's like, it has a sound. It's not fluffy like bread.
Okay, so it's safe to say that log cakes, gingerbread man, cookies, and also even candy canes. Yeah, don't have any significance to like Jesus and the celebrations of the Christmas itself. It's just more of like commercialized, and it's nice to have during the feast.
Yeah, I think it just came up along the way, and it's become custom and tradition, like a lot of festivals have also acquired, but particularly like religious symbols, not really, not that I know of. I mean, I don't have to eat this in church, I guess. Yeah. But the candy canes are interesting because they do look like a shepherd's staff. So the shape of it, the shepherds were part of the Christmas story. So I guess this meaning was maybe added later on. So the shepherds were one of the first few people who actually saw Jesus when he was born on Christmas. So yeah, interesting that a very, very humble group of people were actually informed by the angels that there is a baby that's born, and that's Jesus Christ. So they went and looked for the baby.
I see.
Yeah. But still no candy canes in the Bible, but only shepherds. Yeah.
Maybe for us to understand better why Christians actually celebrate Christmas, so maybe you can share with us the significance of the Christmas celebration.
So I think it's really important to remember God loves us, and that Jesus came to be with us here on earth. Yeah, so I think that's really quite important for Christians, especially at Christmas.
Usually Christmas is there's a lot of singing carols, right? Then there's Christmas trees. There's also this one. What do you call that? The one hanging on the tree.
Christmas ornaments.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so, it can be anything. This one.
Are there stories behind all this? Like the tree and the caroling and the ornaments.
Yeah. I mean, if you Google, there are different versions of the story that float around. How did the Christmas tree come about? And, some people say that, Martin Luther, who's one of the very well-known Christians, Christian pioneers, he saw lights through trees, through some trees, and he thought, oh, that's lovely. And that was how the Christmas tree got incorporated. And, the presents underneath the tree, you know how we always have secret Santas, gift exchange and all that. That story comes, there's a version that came from this character called Saint Nicholas of Myra. So he's a real person, this guy called Saint Nicholas. And he was actually the one who was giving a lot of presents. So he gave alms. He gave out a lot of things, and that was his way of, doing charity and actually saving a lot of lives along the way. And people thought that was wonderful. And that's how the custom of gift giving actually came about. And we've incorporated that into Christmas as well.
So during Christmas, how do you actually celebrate the Christmas? Like the whole day, or do you have like 3 days? Or, one whole month.
The whole month. We celebrate her in 1 month.
Yeah, we only have 1 day public holiday. But I think, so typically my family, we would go to church in the morning. So we'll go to church at 10:30 for our service, and that service will be so full. Everybody is all packed up, and the family of God would gather around, and we would read the Bible. We would sing Christmas hymns and Christmas carols. That's a huge part of Christmas. Oh, okay. All the songs which we'll get to, right? And of course, we'll go for our meals and we'll have dinner, and typically every year we try to have some Christmas caroling. That's actually really important. We have a group of people who will come and will sing Christmas song, joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. And we just want to remember, to the songs and the lyrics of who Christmas is about. And it just fills our heart with all the joy and peace that is proclaimed at Christmas.
When we celebrate Hari Raya, we have something called takbir. So we do this, we start it Eve of Hari Raya at night, and especially we do it together at the mosque, pre-COVID, in the morning when we wait before we start the prayer. So we'll do it together. So this takbir is, the wording itself is Allahu Akbar, which means Allah is great, or God is great. So there's a longer recitation to it lah. But that's the main point, where we glorify God and to give us this blessing after 1 month of fasting, to celebrate Shawwal together. Yeah. So do you have that Christmas tree and give under the tree in Singapore?
If the family bothers to put it up, I guess.
So it's not a must to have a Christmas
Not a
tree.
must to have, but the star on top of the tree is symbolic, I suppose, because in the Christmas story, there was a star that appeared in the sky when Jesus was born. So I think that star is perhaps the most important part of the tree, but the presents underneath, is nice to have lah. Yeah.
It's interesting because even in Islam, there's our prophet, peace be upon him, say that give and you will receive, and you will increase in love. So it means tahadu tahabu. That is what the hadith mentioned. So it's like he encouraged us to give more. And even he himself will receive gift. He don't accept like charity, but he accept gift. And his wife, Aisha, actually narrated that she witnessed that he will ensure that he return the gift even at a later day of the same value. So it's something that is very same to even in Islam, that we are encouraged to give people, because the more we give, the more we receive love. And when we give, we will also feel happy. So it's encouraged also.
And I think a big part of that is like, we give because we have received, and that is so important in the faith.
Okay, so I'm just curious, for Hari Raya this year, it happens during circuit breaker. This year we had to do it individually at home, just with our family, and listen to our Mufti live, giving the sermon. I'm so curious, how would you celebrate Christmas this year?
We have plans already.
Well, so this year, our lives were just radically transformed this year, and singing is a dangerous activity in a time of COVID-19. If you have the whole church gathered around and everybody sings, it's going to be very infectious. So we won't be able to do that this year. But in my church, we've been, when COVID-19 hit really intensely, circuit breaker, so we were all attending church live stream, right? Like how you've attended the sermon live stream as well. So that's what we did, and we would just have our musicians play over video, and then we'll tune in and we'll listen in, and at home we sing with our families, because we're allowed to at home. But now that we're back in church, so it's in smaller groups now, but in church actually we don't sing.
Okay.
So we would just stand and watch the video, and then we'll just worship God in our hearts. So that's how that's like. But interestingly, my church actually has a hearing impaired ministry. So all along, they've been worshiping God through sign language, which is actually a very safe language to worship God nowadays, right? So I've been thinking, maybe it's a good time actually for our church to actually learn sign language, and we can worship God every week through our hands, and wait until it's safe for us to worship God with through songs again.
During the COVID period, we cannot do family gathering, but what we did was we actually gathered through Zoom. And also we acknowledge that family gathering is basically a very important element for our festive. So how about Christmas?
Families do gather around at Christmas, but I want to acknowledge that, actually, I think Christmas may be a difficult time for some people who come from difficult families. It's sometimes festivals actually get really lonely for people at Christmas, and that is when it's really important that the family of God gathers round. That we have Christians who come from very broken places, or we have non-Christians who come from very, very broken places. But there is a place for everybody at Christmas. There is always a place in the family of God for people to come at Christmas. So it doesn't have to be with family. You can just come alone. And actually, interestingly, at Christmas time, the church is always really, really full at Christmas time, because there are people who only turn up in church once a year on Christmas Day. And they'll come and they will just be a part of all the Christians who are celebrating the birth of Jesus. And I think that is what Christmas is.
So is it safe to say like to emulate kindness of people around you? Like that is how I mean, from what you say is like just show kindness to anyone, whether it's family or friends, to celebrate Christmas together.
The Christmas story is for everyone. It's for anyone and everyone to just come and be a part of Christmas.
It's interesting that is similar to our religion, where our prophet said the best of you is the best towards his family. So by showing kindness, by treating them nicely, something that I really missed during Hari Raya this year is to actually go visiting and to gather around. It's sad to say this, but I can only see my cousins and relatives, really see them and talk to them and mingle around and update each other about life during Hari Raya. And if it's not Hari Raya, we don't really, we don't really meet and chit chat. We met our friends more, right? So that is something that I miss, and I think you would too, right, during Christmas.
It'll certainly be different this year. I mean, for me, a large part of Christmas in our church, we gather in cell groups. So we've got our groups that we do Bible study in church, and actually every year Christmas is always spent with this group of people. But this year definitely it won't be like that. I think we'll all split up and just gather in mini groups and probably Zoom as well, like what we did at Raya. Yeah, I think we all look forward to Christmas. It's just there's this time of great joy and rejoicing and really a time of hope. And That's so important because this year has been so difficult and it's been so trying and quite dark, I think, for different people. But it's as we enter into Christmas, as we go into December and we start listening to the music in the air, as we start looking at all the different elements of Christmas, is to remember that there will be always hope.
So Jesus also is someone that we honor. In Islam, Jesus is Prophet Isa alayhi salam. So he is one of the prophet that our God that God gives him a miracle. So his miracle is he has the healing power, so he can actually heal the sick. Yeah. So as what you mentioned also about Jesus, right? Is it similar to how you mentioned about Jesus? Healing and also hope, right?
Yeah,
Bringing
interesting.
hope.
Yeah, because the miracles of Jesus actually healing also feature in the Bible as well. So there were many recorded actual instances of Jesus actually healing the sick and even bringing a dead back to life, and these are just stories that are that have been written down with eyewitnesses record in the Bible as well. Yeah, and I think that's so important to just remember hope this year in such a difficult,
especially ending the year. So we also hope that everything back to normal.
On that note, may we be healed from this pandemic that we are going through right now. Yeah.
What I've learned from this insightful conversation is that we may have differing beliefs, but we can share the joy of this festivity with our fellow neighbours, colleagues and friends. Islam, like Judaism and Christianity, has its own unique holidays but interestingly similar customs. Till then, Assalamualaikum.